question, it was left over on another page. He says we need to.
No, you mean the header? Yeah, he wants the header to be with the results.
Yeah.
So move the header down.
Tab that down or whatever.
So I don't understand. In goals and rewards, he took us off points for throughout the game. Players will come across other players. How is that wrong?
We have others, right?
Yeah, we had others, and
he changed it to other.
Yeah, he said basically he's saying that word would be basically that word makes it more grammatically correct.
Instead of others, instead of the S at the end.
It doesn't say others player.
It did. He likes to change that. He likes to change things.
Yeah,
so,
he likes to go in and change what was originally there.
So if you look at the first one, he says post-apocalyptic, right? We didn't have it with the dash in it. We had post space apocalyptic. It's really post dash apocalyptic. So he wrote what we had on the side, and he said deleted, showing that he deleted what we wrote, and then the blue is what he added.
Okay.
Yeah, basically that's how he does it. Because if you pay attention to the other document we did, our mission statement, he did the exact same thing. He replaced what words should be replaced, and then he drew the little dotted lines to the corresponding thing and said, "This is what I did," basically.
Okay.
Holy shit. Features.
Ow, what is that?
Sorry, I don't know. I think that might be me. It only happens every once in a while. Rules and mechanics. That's going to be a big one.
Okay, so I disagree with his edit here. He said treasure can be obtained by either capturing enemy territories, winning a broken alliance, and annihilating a player's troops. What we said earlier was achieved. And he said the treasure is an item, so it is obtained rather than achieved. But if you're getting it from conflict, if you're getting it from capturing,
you're achieving it,
or annihilating, then you're going through the challenge of obtaining it, therefore making it an achievement.
Yeah. No, I agree with you on that one. That one I actually thought, I was like, I think you're wrong on that.
Yeah, there's some of the stuff that I don't agree with, kind of like with the previous, our charter. There was some things he corrected that I didn't agree with, but...
I mean, it's only 1 point, and I don't want to go emailing him and be a little stick in the mud for 1 point, but still.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, right there with you. What we wrote, I think, made more sense than obtaining. I think it needed to be achievement, because it theoretically is an achievement when you get the treasure.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Oh wow.
Yeah.
We
if you got
2 points on this one, good. But what about the last thing you mentioned above treasure? I was hoping to see what winning a broken alliance meant as far as obtaining treasure.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about, where we removed the thing where we actually described how the broken alliance worked.
But I think we might have put that in a different location. I think we might have...
When we deleted what the broken alliance was about, that wasn't in this area. That was in the area about cooperation. If we had put it in this area, then it would have been better.
Yeah. I just find it funny. You know what I mean? I find it funny. I was like, man, we could have probably put that somewhere else.
Yeah, it was just about placement. We should have realized that what we had... And I wasn't saying when I deleted that we shouldn't
have it in there.
In the paper. I was just saying that at that point it shouldn't be there, and we kind of neglected to put it somewhere else in the paper.
Yeah, and I know when we did that deletion, we all agreed. We were like, you know what, that makes more sense. We agree. So it was an agreement thing. It wasn't. We're not pointing fingers.
No, I know that.
No finger pointing.
Sorry, I'm just. I wanted to jump on camera for a second and do the knife hand. Because in the military, you don't ever point fingers. Sergeants never point fingers at soldiers. They always have an open hand. And so yeah. I don't ever point fingers at anybody anymore. I always have an open hand with them.
Do you like also like karate chop your own hand? Like, hey, listen here.
Yeah, sometimes. Sometimes I do. And somebody mentioned that today at work. They were like, "Why do you always knife hand people?" And I go, in all honesty, I was like, it works really good with children because if you're knife handing and all of a sudden they back talk you, it's a real quick flip of the wrist to smack them upside the cheek.
What?
Also karate chop.
Or karate chop, yeah. What are you saying? What about?
Nothing. My brother came in and I forgot to mute the mic when I yelled at him.
Share
Oh,
screen.
someone says to call them.
Yeah, I know, it's Miguel. I'm adding him.
I didn't see who it was. I just said call, and I was like, oh, okay.
I'm gonna call Obama right now.
You gonna add him? I'm looking for his contact. I don't know where it is.
It's Spades 545. It would be probably Shinkai.
Shinkai of Shinkaiopolis.
I don't think I have him. For some reason, I don't think I have him added.
He's added in my contacts.
I'll get him.
I'm looking in mine, and for some reason, I don't think he's added me.
He added you?
Man, he really wanted us to have a game figured out.
Yeah. If you really look at it, he really did.
Yeah, yeah. If you look at what he did, he expected us to pretty much have the game done, not just a rough outline. Even though the instructions just said have a rough
outline. Yeah.
And then oh my gosh. And then he says, good, but almost too much detail here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot believe, oh my gosh. If he had taken us off points for that, I would have been upset.
Yeah, he didn't take points off. He just said it was good, but too much detail.
Oh my god. I cannot, I'm muffling my voice just because I don't want to flip out and start cursing. Oh, that makes me angry. Oh, it's too vague. The aesthetic is too vague. Okay, sure, but oh my gosh, mechanics, the one thing that's actually going to matter. Too many details.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But in all honesty, if you guys have actually looked at the new what we're supposed to be doing this week, it is going to be intense.
Yeah, it is.
It is. We're breaking it down to you can basically print this off and go, okay, I know how to play this game.
Yeah, it's a game design document.
Yeah, it's the whole thing. Yeah. And rules and mechanics have to be laid out like crazy. So I think it was a good thing we put it in there, though. I mean, you know what? I think having too much in a document is better than having too little.
Yeah.
Beware of too much randomization.
Yeah, it's because we didn't tell them how movement could work. Me and Peter were discussing that earlier today. Oh, man.
15 to 25 pages. Good thing it's already 9. Unless we have to delete the black text. Please delete the placeholder. Okay, never mind. We're gonna have to write it. Do a lot of writing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do a lot of writing, guys. Okay, so I've got a little task sheet kind of on mine. Let's see if you guys can see it or not.
On the wingding noodle?
Yeah, I actually put it up on the wall so we can actually see it better this time.
Okay.
Shit, you can't.
Fuck
balls.
Buster sword.
I don't think you guys can you guys see that? Let me know if you can see that or not.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
I can see that place there.
Okay, I'll just go over it real quick. Okay, something that's simple and something that we can address pretty quickly is logo, right? That can be something, that can be like last of this week. Won't take us long to build a logo. We need to do flowcharts. We need to have a flowchart to start up, a flowchart of each roll or each dice. We're going to have a flowchart of fighting, we're going to have a flowchart of plundering, so annihilation roll, if you want to say it, or final combat.
Yeah, we need to make sure to have charts for everything we do.
Alright, so can we let's just make a quick list on it, and then I'll put it in the tasks and everything when we're done. What do we got for flowcharts?
Well, first it's choosing who goes first.
That's okay. What else?
Turn flowcharts. Movement.
Okay, turn / movement. Okay, combat.
Combat.
Annihilation.
Wouldn't there be also a treasure one?
Yeah, that's what I just said.
Treasure. What else? So we got choosing who goes first, turn / movement, annihilation, combat, and treasure.
Did you guys want to do one for fast travel, or is that simple enough to keep in one of those other flowcharts?
I think it'll be like in movement at least.
Okay, zone capture. That needs to be a flowchart. We'll do / fast travel. So 1, 2,
Yeah,
3.
Skype isn't working very well.
For who?
Miguel. Like he's in.
I'm here, guys. For some reason, my Skype isn't working. Okay. Can someone do me a favor? If I'm writing stuff on the board, can you if he can't, Miguel, can you hear me? I can hear but can't speak. Okay. If you got questions, just go ahead and post it, or if you want to interject on something, just say, hey, I want to interject. All right. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So potentially 6 flowcharts that we need to do.
Each person.
Huh?
It's like one for each person.
Yep. We're gonna have to break it up, theoretically. That way then we can get it out fast, or we can have one person just do nothing but flowcharts this week. However, I think it would be better if we separate it. Table of contents, that has to be something that is done. Has anybody utilized, what is it called? It's called like Taco or something like that. Word Talk. TOC.
Nah.
Talk.
Table of contents.
Yeah, he basically wants it. Oh, contents generator. It's a table of contents generator. So it's a tool. You can click anywhere on the table of contents, and it'll jump you to your page. That's what he wants. Does anybody know about it, or has anybody used that before?
No, not me. I've never heard of it or used it before.
Okay.
First time hearing it here.
All right. So research. I'll look it up. I'll see how it goes. If that's the last thing that's on my agenda, in all honesty, I think that needs to be our last thing we have to focus on. I mean, that could take, half an hour to an hour to figure out. History. Okay, so gaming history. That's something that he is. Oh, if you guys do not have the document up, go ahead and open it so then everyone's looking at it. So then we can discuss it a little bit. Design history, right? These are usually kind of like version sets. So if we had like last week should be a version of our game. This should be something, okay, this is what we have, the mechanics of this is what we have. Any type of updates that we change or any type of things that we add to it this week should be a new version. And say, hey, this is what we're doing, we've decided to change this. So, let's just take, for instance, last week we said zone capture as in one piece on the
entire place.
Yeah. So, looking at the drawing, we have one piece. Right? We have one piece right. Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. Stupid thing. we have one, like one piece up here, one piece right here, and that's to capture the zone. But what happens if we wanted to do something like this where it's 2 or 3 zones to capture that whole zone? That would be something that we would say, hey, that's something that we're adding, so that would be adding to the game history. So being referenced, if we change stuff, we need to add it to the version. If you scroll down a little bit, it goes down to game overview. Just take place. These are kind of questions like what we answered last week, in all honesty. Where does the game take place? What is the story? What is the main focus? How many characters, units, pieces does the player control? Okay, so taking from the last document, it would probably be utilized to answer these questions, but probably going more in depth and more indulgent. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I think for
but still maybe not so much there because
not crazy.
Nah, not there because there it's the overview. We would go into depth and specific elsewhere, like rules and mechanics, game setup, turn sequence, general rules, those places. That's I think where we go in depth. Rules and mechanics, those things. But overview. I mean, overview is going to be very general.
Yeah. Okay.
I say for story we could add a little bit, like with the characters that we made.
Okay.
But like with like the general description of what happened, like in order for like how the world happened.
Kind of like give a little background story, like a 2 to 3 sentence background story for each of those warlords that we chose.
Yeah. And
okay.
Like basically kind of copy and paste like the main story of like what we had before.
Okay. Anybody have a disagreement with that?
No, that sounds okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. Game theory is a little bit lower. Symmetry, playstyle.
Good show.
Yeah, summation, perfect, imperfect information, things like that. Going down, it goes to feature set. So all types of features, game components, things that we're going to need. There was something that that got brought up last week, and I know I brought it up. I showed you guys pictures of little miniatures, right? Now, I'm not saying we could use that. This is something like if we wanted to do it in production, that I didn't know if you guys would want to use miniatures. However, I was thinking it would be easier to identify the actual warlord miniature. So if that was a combat, let's say you do an annihilation, you would have to fight the warlord to completely annihilate him. And that annihilates the army. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't know if that was something that we wanted to discuss or whatnot, but that would probably need to go in there if we do decide on that. Rules and mechanics. Okay, so that is going to be, I think, our big money maker this week. We're going to have to really stress on that and really go over the mechanics and maybe do 30-minute testing just to see how it works. Kind of roll it out and say, okay, I'm rolling a 6. Let's move it here. How does that work? You know what I mean? Set up a little like quick. Let's go over this. Let's do that. Game setup. It goes into turn sequence, general rules, detailed rules, specific pieces, flow, and then it goes into flow charts. End gaming condition and beginning condition. That was something I was going to clarify with all of you guys. And then rules and questions. Where can you answer questions about the game, run through your game, and make sure... Yeah, design notes here to help other producers playtest your game. If you look at rules and questions...
Hey, can you guys hear me at all now?
Yeah, we can.
Alright, okay, so I had you guys on my Bluetooth via my car and shit, and it didn't want to let me talk. But I heard the entirety. I wanted to say something about the warlords.
Okay.
About the whole you guys fighting with them. That actually sounds like a good idea. What we can do is make their stats, because they're gonna obviously have some form of combat. So stats would be a huge part of this, not only with just a dice roll.
Okay.
What we can do is make the stats for each warlord unique, so we don't have like the same response for every single one. So it just doesn't feel like it's the same
warlord. It'll be different for each character. And I also wanted to touch on that. How would we distribute warlords? Would it be randomly, or would it be pick based?
We were discussing randomly.
Yeah, and if you read the document, we had basically stated that we were going to shuffle the deck and pass them out face down to each player. And
so we'll have a deck alone just dedicated to just the warlord.
We'll have a deck to just the warlord.
Yep.
All right. Well, I mean that's pretty much all I had to say and ask. So you can go ahead and continue.
No, you're good. Something I was gonna bring up to you guys is any type of things that we need printed or mass distributed, such as, let's say we make cards, and let's say we wanted to create the pictures of the warlords, kind of like what I did, right? What I can do is I can print them. I have a high quality printer, and then I have a high quality scanner that I can scan all those up, and then it could just be easily downloaded for everybody at that case. So then we're not having to write so many, write all the stuff out. We can actually just write them in quick fashion cards, and I can get them all scanned on a card. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If that's easier for everybody, let me know. I need time. So if that's something that we want to do, let's make sure we have things typed up for it.
Yeah, we could do that for us once we get everything squared away.
Yeah.
And it's just something that we have because we're the team. We're a team, and then we'll just have like the images for everybody else to either print off or just look at on their computer.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is, however, if you look at rules, he is going to have it where people are going to probably play test our stuff. The other teams are probably going to play test our stuff. So in that fashion, I was saying, hey, we could have everything, even the map, kind of scanned up where they can actually just have a print off and go, okay, here's the actual print off of the map. You see what I'm saying? Where they can actually digitally have it.
Yeah.
So it's all digitalized and say, we have everything digital for you. There's no excuse to not have it or not have that card. Because all the cards are digital. So, that's something extra that I'm willing to do. Just let me know if you guys want to do that.
That does sound cool.
So wait, quick question. Sorry.
Yep.
We're going to be using. I know we have the.
You're kind of breaking up, buddy. What?
I know we have the tokens.
Yep.
We're going to distribute. We're going to create something. Let's say an actual figurine. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. The figurine thing was just kind of cool, and just to kind of be like, hey, this was something that we read, and I was like, hey, if you guys want to do something in the future, here's a good website to do it in the future. If let's say for the tokens, so for these little suckers, I think what would be really easy is to put a W on one of the pieces to clarify.
Represented as a warlord. That sounds like a good idea.
Correct. Just for the class in general, in case of other people have to do it. So if other people that don't have our game and it's another team and they have to do it, then it's an easy representation to go, hey, we wrote a W on a warlord to represent a warlord piece. Does that help?
Yeah, that would help.
Miguel? Miguel, are you still there, buddy?
I don't know if you can hear me too well. I got a pretty bad signal in here, so.
No, now we can hear you good, yeah. So, okay.
I hear birds.
Oh, sorry, that's from me. I decided to sit outside because it was nice.
I thought that was me for a second because I'm in Petco, so I was just shit.
So table of contents we addressed. Design history we addressed. Okay. Because I didn't want to make these meetings long, because I think everybody can, I think we're now at the point that we all understand the game. Does anybody have questions that they don't understand about, or that we need to address now, as in mechanics or rules, because that is something that we're gonna have to discuss real quick.
Where can we downsize a little bit? Because I still think that the scope is a little bit large for our time. Not anything like going back and rewriting everything. Just like what little things can we change to make the overall thing seem less? Because I feel like we have a lot of moving parts and not a whole lot of time. So
no, I agree.
Can you move, if any?
Well, okay, so.
Or do we want to do that? I mean.
Well, that's up to you guys.
No, it's up to all of us. That's why I'm asking. Is because if where we're at is where everyone else is wanting to be, if I'm the only one that's feeling that way, then yeah, let's stay the course. But
I mean, if we need to cut corners, we can always cut corners in the item cards themselves. We can reduce the amount of items we have to come up with, because to me it seems like the mechanics of everything else are actually easy to do. With a few play tests, we could tweak them really well, and I think that's mainly just because I'm looking at this like as a DM. I can see where we're going. The only thing I think that might cause us more time is creation of a lot of item cards. So if need be, we can always reduce the amount of item cards.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll still have Broken Alliance, but we could always, instead of doing 4 Broken Alliance and 4 Alliance cards, we could do 2 Alliance cards and 2 Broken Alliance cards. Or something else. I'm using that as an example.
No, you know what? I'm glad we brought that up. I actually am, because there was something I was thinking about today. So we were talking about reinforcement cards last week as well, and we were also discussing, how are we going to gain more reinforcements? So, like, let's say, Miguel has basically got 10 guys left. Does he get an opportunity to draw from a wild card? I mean, you know what I mean? Or how do you get these alliance cards? Or how do you get these break alliance cards? Or anything like that? We need to discuss if an alliance card is going to be distributed to everybody, or if it's going to be by chance, so random, you just get to randomly pick it up, or everyone's going to cycle through a turn. So you're going to roll a dice, move your places. If you have to attack. If you can treasure hunt, then treasure hunt, and then go into, okay, now pick a card.
Well, we could make it an actual treasure card, like secret artifact found, make an alliance with another player, or something like that.
Okay, kind of like you found dirt on somebody.
Yeah, you found like dirt. Yeah, you found a secret document pertaining to another warlord. Make an alliance with that warlord. Otherwise, you will exploit. Otherwise, this will happen. And then the breaking of the alliance is you have successfully stolen back the document. You can now choose to break, or you can now break the alliance with the other warlord, type of deal. So it's like, hey, I've got dirt on you. You have to be my teammate. And then it's later, haha, I stole it back. You're no longer my teammate, and now I'm going to annihilate you. Yeah.
So do we want to make everything a treasure hunt then?
Because we could make could make those part of the treasure hunt, which will make it a little easier. Because then that also still gives us a few cards for the treasure hunt decks, and doesn't cause too much of a additional mechanic that we have to implement. Because then it's just pure luck if you find that dirt.
Yeah.
To make an alliance.
So why don't we do something like this? So roll, because we were discussing this, right? In a regular treasure hunt, we were saying 12 or higher. So why don't we say 12 or higher? You get 12 to 16. You get just treasure, which could help impact it. But 6 or 17 and higher is like an alliance or break an alliance card or something like that, where it's a special treasure. You see what I'm saying?
True.
So kind of like 2 treasure piles.
I think I thought of a potential problem with the treasure spaces.
Okay.
Like, say, the person decides to move, and he's just moving between a space that is not treasure space, and then he keeps going back into the treasure space. What happens then? That would be like an exploit, and then he'd automatically win because he'd get 15 treasure pieces.
Correct. That was another thing I was going to bring up, so I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
I was thinking about that too. Now, I was talking to my little brother about this, just seeing what kind of feeling to see what he thought of the game idea. And when he's sitting there, he actually brought that point up, and I was like, yeah, that's something we were going to discuss. He specifically made a statement, well, what if you make it so that the person who's on it has to either wait a turn or they physically have to, what's the word I'm looking for? He told me, and I'm trying to remember now. Besides, they have to, like, wait an entire turn before they can do it again. Like, they can't explore for treasure on their following turn, or have it to where they have to basically leave the entire continent, make a loop, and come back to the continent and get back to that spot.
So, something that we could do that would be really easy is put a cover. Do a cover for so many turns. So, if, let's say, anybody, so, out of the whole map, just let me grab the map again.
Oh, wait, so are you saying basically they can only search for treasure in one location 3 times?
No, so, kind of, you're kind of getting to where I'm going with that. So like this one, let's say this is the treasure piece for it, right?
Yeah.
We get a piece of paper, we get a card, or, an actual hexagon, cover, and says, okay, you've now collected treasure from this. If you have collected treasure, you have to now cover this space up for 5 turns, and nobody can try it until 5 turns. You see what I'm saying?
That kind of works too. No one can actually.
No one can do it. Not even yourself. Not even other soldiers. It has to be nobody completely. You have to move around. You would have. The whole thing is you're gonna want to move your character pieces, and even if you still move to another treasure, you can even extend that and go say, hey, we want to do 10 per piece, because there's about 1, 2. There's typically about 2 to 3 pieces of treasure locations on each island. Typically. That in my rough draft.
Yeah.
So we could potentially do a cover, or we could say that treasure spot is only available 3 times out of the entire game, or things like that. However, what could potentially become the problem is, let's say the game goes on for long periods of time. Let's say it goes past an hour to 2 hours, and everyone's done treasure, right? And everyone's utilized their treasure like we want people to do, right? It goes back into the deck with, if you utilize a treasure, it goes back into the deck stating you've lost the treasure because you utilized it, right? So now what happens if it goes around, everyone's used all those spaces for 3 turns, or for 3 times. Now you have no more places to do treasure, so now you have to do nothing but combat. Is that something that we want to go and do, or do we want to say, okay, now, or do we want to just keep doing it as it's a constant flow? That's where that's going to come into play.
I think there should be, like, if they get like a crit fail, like that spot cannot be excavated anymore. Like, say it's like which die are we using to roll to find treasure? Like D20 or something?
The D20, yeah.
Okay, so like say they get like a 1, that'd be like a crit fail. So like that, like say a cave-in happens and you can't excavate it for probably like the like you can't go there for like a long time.
Okay.
Like
you're saying like 10 turns?
Yeah.
Okay.
That
Okay.
actually brings up a very interesting point. I just thought of something. There is a mechanic from a game that's long since been dead. The mechanic is you got to kind of like mine for resources or look for treasure.
Yep.
If you rolled too high or too low, negative effects happened. So we could have a negative effect for rolling too low, as well as a negative effect for rolling too high.
But we stated if they roll a 20 in certain things. Never mind. That's plundering. That's plundering. I'm getting them mixed up.
So we could do something like when you do a treasure hunt, if you happen to roll, let's say, you roll a natural 20 on your excavation roll for treasure, you get 2 treasures, but no one can dig treasure from that area for either so many turns or permanently because you've exhausted all the treasure in that location type of deal.
You know, that actually, to interject here, not to be rude, that actually sounds like a really good idea. If you guys can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine now, man.
All right. So what I was saying, it sounds like a good idea. What we can do is we can put, you said 15 total treasure in order to win the game, right?
Yeah.
So we can just scatter that around on different portions of, let's say, territory and island. Let's have some territories. Obviously, we're going to have some territories upon startup of the game that aren't going to have any form of, let's say, alignment. So there'll be territories that are just open for the taking. So we can put treasure on those as well as randomly on different islands and different treasure locations, and we can roll for those. We can also give them off for, let's say, when you get control of a territory. Instead of rolling, you automatically get it because you captured that point.
Yeah.
Well,
were you? No, it makes sense. Were you there when we were discussing plundering with that?
No, I wasn't. I don't think I was listening.
Or Annihilation?
No, yeah, I was.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say with the Annihilation, it allows you the chance to plunder whatever somebody has instead of stealing all their cards. And that was...
Okay, so instead of getting it automatically, you would have to...
You have to plunder for it. You have a chance to get it. Which is something that we kind of... At least I thought we were kind of like, oh, that's actually a better idea instead of Risk, where Peter got every flipping card. It sucked.
Yeah, because I mean, that made it... I mean, granted, I enjoyed the fact that I was able to conquer the world, but you guys didn't like the fact that I was able to basically just go, oh, hey, look, I take all 7 of these cards from the computer because they never cashed them in. Now I'm going to cash them in, and I drop 40-something troops here and continue my conquest.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's the fact of once you defeat a player, when you get the cards from them, you can immediately cash them in to do whatever. And I mean, the same effect might happen. Say another player has like 10 cards, and you have 10 cards as well, and then you take them out. You get their 10, and hey, look, I win.
Yeah. Go ahead, Corey.
Fun out of it.
Corey, you were gonna say something, boss.
Yeah,
What's up?
I just wanted to clarify the chance part. That was just for regular fights. If someone annihilates, then they get all their cards, right? All the opponent's cards.
Yeah, in Risk, right? It's called Annihilation, right? And that is they obtain everything. So if you had 10 cards, the player gets all those 10 of those cards.
What we're saying is, in ours, when you just fight them in a regular fight, you have a chance to get their card or a treasure or whatever.
No, that's only in a Broken Alliance.
Okay, so we're not having it to where if you fight them in a normal fight, you get a chance.
We're not given a chance in a normal fight to get treasure.
Yeah, in a normal fight, it's just to eliminate.
Okay,
yeah.
So what happens if one person has 10 cards, or say even a majority of the cards, and the person who annihilates them doesn't get the chance to plunder their cards?
Well,
and now those cards, what happened to those cards?
So now this is where I was going. This is where we were going to go with this. That's why I brought up the Warlord piece, because I think that's going to be better to establish Annihilation. To go, hey, that's the Warlord. You're now annihilating all their troops, right? You're basically saying you're gonna take out that Warlord completely. That's where I think this is gonna want to come into play. When you take out that Warlord, basically saying you're kicking him out of the game. The rest of those cards, if someone plunders and only gets 2 of those cards, which is what, a 20, right, Peter?
Yeah.
Okay, if they rolled a 20, they got 2 of the treasures, and if they had more than 2, the rest of them were lost.
Higher, they get 1.
Yeah, if the rest of them, so if like let's say you had 5 and I rolled a 20, I got 2, so the 3 they're technically lost in the battle, and they get put back in the card. I mean, put back in the treasure deck.
Okay, so they get put back in the treasure deck. So
Yes.
people can just go over treasure spaces and continually pull cards from the treasure deck then?
No, that was what we were discussing earlier, was that at that point we would want to do a cycle where it's either a 5-turn cycle saying that that piece is not available for 5 turns. So do a cover or something. Yeah.
I understand what you guys were talking about because I was lost earlier.
I don't want you to be lost, man.
Most of what you guys are saying, and I don't have any objections. It's just that was my one concern was there's
a lot of mechanics.
There's just so many if-thens.
Yeah.
There's so many. Like I don't even know all the if-then conditions in this game yet. So and I've been working with you guys for 2 or a week now trying to figure it out. So working on it for 4 months, we don't want to have too many of those. Obviously, we want to have as many of them to make a compelling game, which up to this point sounds pretty good. But my only question was, like, what major parts don't we need to make the game into the game that we want to make? For example, this is just something I'm not saying let's get rid of fast travel. What does fast travel bring to the game that we need to have it in there? What does treasure bring to the game that we need to have it? So all these different parts, what does it bring to the game that makes it necessary to have to what we're trying to do with the game?
Okay.
And that was my idea. That was my concern, was because there's so many parts, is every mechanic that we've thought up to this point, every if-then scenario, are all of those necessary to what we want to do with this game, what the purpose of this game is? And if all of you guys, if I'm the only one with that concern, if everyone up to this point feels yes, that the answer is yes, that so far so good, then by all means let's continue. But that was just my little concern. So.
Well, let's discuss it then. So, let's just go down each one real quick. All right, fast travel, right? Is that something that we really need? I mean, does it hurt the game if we get rid of it? Is it something that we could say, hey, yeah, they've captured the zone, but is it really a strategic point? In the drawing, it's strategic to say, hey, we've captured this zone. Now I can get to that zone faster to capture that zone even quicker.
Okay, so question: how would they get to the zone without fast travel?
Regular movement. So.
Okay, so I guess bring up the board and show me exactly the difference between regular and...
I will. That's what I'm doing. Okay, so quick. Gosh, I wish this thing was magnetized. Okay. Quick slow travel, right? Let's say a user comes to this red block. Can you see that or no?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. User comes to this red block. It has a red arrow to take you to a travel location. This travel location, you can then move them around and cluster them in here, and then you would have to move here. If you go to a fast travel location, you're automatically over here. It's a faster push. It's technically a 1 to 2 space push faster. But the requirement was the fast travel, you had to have one person. So in the movement location, you actually had to get to the location, and then moving to the mid location still cost you a roll. The fast travel is, once you get into that fast travel, you can just automatically push it to that other location. So it didn't cost you that much more. You see what I'm saying?
Vaguely, yeah.
So let me bring up just that half so we can see it a little bit better. So red. So let's say you're right here. You'd go 1, 2, 3, and then 4. That costs you 4 moves. You're right here. 1, I'm already here. You see where I'm saying? So technically that costs you 4 moves. This now only costs you 1 move for 1 person. That make more sense or no?
Yeah, I get the general idea.
Okay.
I'm just having a trouble understanding how specifically, like, if I was playing the game, how would I form my strategy around it? So, and that's just because we haven't completely nailed on all the details completely yet, which It was what we were getting to, but do we have the time to get to nailing out all the details on all the things we've already decided we want? I'm just worried for time is all. If you don't feel like we can do it, then like I said, I'm really not trying to be a naysayer, guys. I'm really not. I'm just concerned.
You're bringing up good stuff though.
The time that we have. Obviously, we want to do these things. We want it to be complex and intricate and all these things because it makes for a more compelling experience. I will be the first to say that I enjoy, a major game that has all these moving parts more than just rock, paper, scissors.
Correct.
I get the point of it, but we just kind of have to keep in mind what we have to work with.
Yeah, time set and everything like that. I agree.
We have to have the entire game completely thought of, start to finish, like instruction set, everything in 1 week as of right now.
Yep.
And that's pretty challenging with, upwards of, almost 10 or more, if-then scenarios for these different mechanics here and there.
Correct.
So, again, I just wanted to voice my concern was all.
Man, I'm the only one without a job, so I basically I basically have the most time, so.
Well, that doesn't mean we want you to do nothing but the project, brother. I mean, everyone's gonna have a chance to work on it. So, everyone is gonna have to work on it. And
yeah, definitely.
So, and that's kind of why I wanted to get the tasks out today, so then we can say, okay, here's the here's how many flowcharts we need to do. Can we try to get every single one of us, take one flowchart and go ahead and go do it? Do we feel comfortable enough to saying, like Corey, do you feel comfortable enough to say, hey, I want you to do a flowchart for combat? Would you feel a little bit confident in saying I could knock out a flowchart for it, and then everyone bring it tomorrow and go, all right, this is with this, and this. This is how the flowchart is, and then we can all go, yeah, let's move this here. This doesn't work. Yeah, you're right about that. Or we just give it to one person, and then we get the rest of it done with other tasks and delegation. That's where it's going to. That's where it's going to matter, if we want to do this big game and do a nice job with it and do what we want to do with it and keep fast travel or keep certain elements to it, then we would all need to really want to push it and go, yeah, this is something that we want. I think fast travel is something that we can put last priority on.
Yeah.
And we can say, hey, this doesn't, it's something that we can lose and it doesn't hurt the game.
Okay, so while you were speaking, I kind of had an idea just for the task distribution. This doesn't really relate to what I was saying earlier. Instead, with the flowcharts specifically, we can do a mix. So not all of them get done by one person. Not every person does one.
Yeah.
But more so like the 2 or 3 people who have a very, very solid understanding of all the if-then conditionals, all of the situations, everything that could happen, will happen, and all the conditions and results of those things.
Yep.
Those 2 or 3 people make those flowcharts, and then we can kind of distribute that way, and then the other 3 or 4 team members will work on other tasks.
Yeah, exactly.
That's an idea too.
No, that's good. Thank you for bringing that up. That actually, that makes more sense. In all honesty. Okay.
Because right now I can tell you I have a very rough understanding of this because I hear you guys talking.
Yeah.
But I guess I have a very linear way of understanding how something works.
Okay.
And because we're jumping around a lot, it's kind of hard for me to understand the specifics. So I could fill out a flowchart, but I wouldn't feel as confident as say Peter, who I know has a very solid understanding of not just general board games and how they work, but also how he wants and how you want and how, say, Malave wants the game to function, and he'd be better suited to probably make a flowchart than me. So it might make more sense for him to make 2 and then me make something else like what were you saying earlier, the table of contents. If you gave the tool, I could probably knock that out. Even though you said it was a really easy task, we could work on the history and the overviews. I can definitely work on those.
Okay.
You know, some things that I do feel comfortable with, and not necessarily. You know, and that's not just me. That's for everyone. Everyone, you know.
Yeah, no, that's...
Give everyone their strengths and weaknesses. Let's put those strengths and weaknesses of all our different team members to work.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, because I, playing as many games as I do, I have a much broader understanding of mechanics of how games work.
Well, so since here's the thing. Since you're going to be working on mechanics, and I know... Who's the backup for that? It was Malave. Are you the backup on the mechanics?
I believe so.
You believe so?
I think he is too. Hold on, let me.
I mean, in all honesty, you two know the mechanics. I think the best out of all of us. Correct?
Checking full.
Yes.
Checking.
No.
No, yeah. Checking
Oh
chart.
my gosh, it didn't open. Hold on.
I'm alright. I got it open. I'm looking there right now.
Well, would you two feel comfortable with working together and doing the flowcharts and with the mechanics portion of it?
Yeah, I know the understanding. I'm just really bad at flowcharting. So
Okay.
whoever my
That's the thing is, I can help you with the flowcharts. I'm really good with flowcharts. Like.
Oh, let's see. Mechanics.
In all honesty.
Let's see.
I am not one of them.
You're not one of them.
No, actually, it's me, you, Corey, and William are on mechanics.
Okay. How about this?
Yeah, we.
I think it was more formality, and that's why I really didn't want to go with that. That's know.
That's why I put my name in there, just because it was like a formality.
Yeah, it's more of a formality thing.
I remember originally we had Malave in here because I'm Malave's second for storytelling.
Yep, I do know that.
So I know that we originally had him down there, basically so we could play off of each other, so we make sure the mechanics and the story stay synced up.
Hang on a second. Corey.
Yes.
You're really good at writing, and in all honesty, you're really good at writing and you're really good at editing. How would you feel about writing the story for this? Taking the story that we have and then adding to it.
I could probably write a 2-page paper with just filler stuff, but that would be all text. It would be about like the different warlords. It'd be about what happened.
Yeah. I mean, don't go too crazy, but I'm saying like, you know, we discussed that we do want to add what is the story. You know, we want to add a little bit more to it, and in all honesty, do you guys think we should break down some of the warlords in here? Say, hey, I want to write the warlord content. Okay, so see, there we go. There we go. Miguel really wants to write the warlord content. All right, cool. That's what I would like to see in the story. In all honesty, we have warlords. We're gonna have to have a background for it.
Yeah.
That has to go somewhere.
We have a background for each one, why they do what they do. I feel at least one of them should be an expert in archaeology. That's just my honest opinion, because we were talking about giving them abilities. I think that would be kind of cool to have one of them as an expert in archaeology, one an expert in combat, and so on.
Okay. No, and
that's just my opinion. I just wanted to
as long as Princess Bloody Fist or Princess Bloodyface is a fucking psycho, I have no care.
That's actually the person I wanted to be a specialist in combat. Her combat is, I want to beat the living crap out of you.
Yeah, so in all honesty, that's what I care about. So
yeah.
You know,
I was thinking more along the lines of one of our scholarly people.
Yeah.
And by that I mean one of our British guys is like an archaeologist.
Okay.
But what you're going into right now, Peter, that's great. That's what we're going to do, but that's what we're kind of trying to figure out with the task distribution is who's going to figure all that out, because
thank you, Miguel.
Because we can't all be part of every part.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's, you know, so
that's kind of where I felt like we were going towards, is like everyone's going to be mechanics, that everyone's going to work on story, everyone's going to be a part of it. I would have no problem if, Peter, you come up with all the warlord content, and then Aaron comes up with what happened, and then or he helps you with between the two, you guys get all the flowcharts done.
All right.
Because at that point, you guys basically made how the game is played.
Okay.
I have very little to do with that, and I have no problem doing that if I'm still being part of the team and doing things elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
Because if we're doing content for the Warlords, which I clearly see we got someone who really, really, really wants to do the Warlord content, the Warlord content needs to drive with whatever mechanics I make, so that if I basically say, hey, Princess Bloodyface is a master of combat, so she gets an inherent
that's
bonus
details.
to
That's
rolls.
details. That's details. So,
Yeah,
in all honesty,
fit with the character.
in all honesty, the mechanics will fit the character. We as mechanics, you would want to go, okay, I know I'm going to have a character be combat oriented, so the character is going to have more of this strengths over here. Adding psychotic breakdowns or things like that. Mechanics fall after character, no reverse. Yeah, exactly. So, that's fall after character.
Yeah, he is actually making a good point. Usually you create the backstory for the characters and then you do the mechanics. And that's basically what I was also trying to get at, is that I need to know what the character story is behind it, so I can make sure
let's do this. Let's do this.
Okay, just a quick question before you go into that, Aaron.
Yep.
The mechanics of the Warlords. So we are all very much hard set on making the differences of Warlords have an effect.
Yes.
So how do we make the Warlords of the difference of the Warlords have an effect in combat that's just a roll of the dice?
That's why I'm.
Okay.
You want to take that one?
Actually, this is something I can get into. This falls into major categories of several different games that I know very well. When they have a mechanic, it's like an innate bonus. Like, I'll use this as an example. I'm not saying this is what's set in stone, but I'm going to use Princess Bloodyface. Princess Bloodyface, she's a master of combat, so she would have an inherent bonus in some fashion. So her effect.
Give me an example of that fashion.
Okay, so I got one, Peter. I got one.
Just that whenever she makes an attack roll, that I'm going to use more than one example just so you can understand. Her innate bonus is she gets a +1 to her attack roll in combat, so that she's inherently getting an additional plus. And I'm not saying it's going to be a 1. I'm just saying.
Peter, hang on 2 seconds. Hang on 2 seconds. Miguel, all right, that sounds good. If you could go ahead and do the backgrounds, I totally agree with you. I think you should totally do them. So if anybody else has a problem with Miguel doing the backgrounds for the characters,
I'm good. If he wants to do the background
for
the characters, I'm good. Just so I'm gonna go ahead and say I'll work on everything but the character mechanics.
Let him.
So as soon as he's done,
he says he's working on them tonight. So
and I can go in and then create mechanics for them and then of course after a couple of my own end of play testing, the way I do for D&D and other games, I will see what mechanic best suits them based on their backstory and what's compatible for the game.
All right, Miguel, we'll talk to you later, buddy. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
But yeah, that's basically it. It's like either give her a +2 battle rolls, or whenever she goes into combat, she gets to roll her dice twice and use the better result. Like, say, she rolls a 4 on one die, but because she's inherently good at combat, she can roll that again, and if it's a higher number, she can choose which one to take.
But there's limitations to that, Corey, so don't think like every single time she's going to be able to do 2 rolls or something like that, you know?
I just wanted to get a rough understanding, because again, I have very little experience for game boards, so when I'm playing an RPG game, it's easy for me to see the stat differences and how they're going to play into the game. But on a board game with dice roll,
you don't see it.
Imagine that, because I don't have that experience, and it really sucks that I don't have that experience, because I'm having a hard time keeping up with you guys with all these mechanics that you guys are trying to generate. That's why I have these concerns, because I do personally feel a little overwhelmed with all the mechanics and with all this plethora of choices and if-then conditions and all these other things, because it's my own experience. It has a lot to play into it.
Something I can recommend, go onto YouTube and look for some Let's Plays of people playing 4th edition D&D.
That's gonna, Peter, in all honesty, that's gonna take him in a wild chase. I mean, it helps.
And that could give him a little understanding of how effect mechanics
But those people take it to the fucking extreme, man. those people take it to the extreme. That's gonna, like, in all honesty, if you're coming into it,
that's why I'm recommending 4th edition. 4th edition didn't go into the extreme. 4th edition had a lot of innate mechanics that were just like static abilities, like Warlords there was actually Warlords in 4th edition that had an inherent bonus, like when they made an attack roll that was different from other editions.
Yeah.
And it was because they were a Warlord. And that's what I was saying. Either that or just look up 4th edition mechanics, and that might give him a little idea of how this will play out.
It's just because we went over a lot of if-then conditions.
Do we want to add those if-then conditions with each warlord? That's what you're getting at.
Yeah. So like, if you do a roll, and the if-then, because again, you roll if warlord this, if warlord that, if warlord this, then a then for all of those if conditions.
Yep.
So it's just hard for me to see the entire map of the game from that point of view, because again, I have a very linear way of thinking about it. If then, very linear way of thinking. So to see the whole map of how the game plays and how it all works, it's a lot. So that's why I kind of wanted you, Peter, and even Aaron, who's really good at flowcharting, and Malave, who's got a pretty good basis in because you guys understand those things. That's why I was kind of saying maybe it's better for you guys to focus on that, so I can focus on something else.
Okay. So what? Let's do this. Malave, Peter, me. We're gonna work on the mechanics with the flowcharts. We're gonna get that done. I'm gonna say no later than Wednesday. I want that whole thing done. We'll do all the flowcharts. We'll get it done. Corey, if you don't mind, you want to polish up the story, and then
I'm gonna write everything that I can except for Warlord content, and actually I'm probably gonna try and touch into it. I'm actually gonna communicate with Will, send him a few messages.
You mean Miguel?
If I can, if I have time. Otherwise, he'll get the Warlord content done. And then I'll move on to other things like
there's history, there's features, there's you know what? Hang on, there's something that's game components that would work really well. I mean, a chance to submit to revise for in week 3. This is game components are everything that we're gonna need. We're like red glass encounter represents faction X, white glass encounters. We're using each one. White, blue, fucking root beer, and green. So each faction will have a representation. I mean, each content we have in there has a representation. $10 billion play money. I would suggest for cards. Cards are going to be a little bit tricky. I know that's going to be... You're going to have a set treasure card. So, we decided on what? 25?
I think we decided on 25 treasure cards.
25.
So, what I can do is, while I'm working on stuff, until I know what the warlords are capable of, I can go ahead and make some treasures.
Let's do that on the side. Let's try to get the mechanics and everything done. Like I said, I want it done by Wednesday, so then that's a big stress loader off the chart.
Yeah.
You know, that is something that we can do.
I'm going to work on the main mechanics. If I get them done before too much, like if I work on them tonight and I get a good chunk of them done, and I have some spare time before me and you and everything can get together to do work on the flow chart, I'll just go ahead and make work on some items, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. It basically frees up just if I have that extra time, which with me not going into work tomorrow, I'm pretty sure I'll have that extra time.
Okay.
And with me, I'm just saying, I don't want to get off topic. I just want to say years of D&D has got me ready to go like at a moment's notice, because I've had to make stuff up on the fly and get stuff ready before a game the next day.
Correct.
So,
before you guys start on the flowcharts, though, can you guys do me a favor and just review like the rules of it from like any documents you guys have left over from Game Design 1?
Yeah, and that's what I want to do. We're gonna do the rules first, and then we're gonna go on some mechanics.
Oh, okay, so you're going to do flowcharts later then, after you guys figure out all the rules and mechanics.
Correct.
Okay.
We have to type those out, so then it is clear as day. So then as soon as we go, okay, now let's do the flowchart for these mechanics, it'll be a little bit. I'll draw them as we're talking about it, and I'll get them start drawing them like here while we're talking, and getting the mechanics written up and go, okay, hey, this doesn't work. I'm coming into this conclusion. It's it's looping back. It's not finishing, or hey, this is coming to an end. It's fucked up. It's a little bit easier to do that at the same time. So
I'm going to do that too in the meantime. I'm going to go back and review all the flowcharting protocols.
okay.
There's circle is a start, and then like squares and triangles are like your primary.
Yeah.
While you're talking about that, do you at any point, Aaron, want to get together to talk about the mechanics, or do you just want me to work on the basic rules and basic mechanics, and then bring that to you when
I want you to work with Malave on that.
Woo!
You two need to be working that during the day.
Okay.
Like I said, I can't work with it during the day. I mean, we can email me because I'm working all day.
Yeah, So,
but like I said, I should be getting off at work at 4:30 tomorrow, and as soon as I get home, I will jump in, and all three of us will just communicate, and we'll knock that out. And then when the 8 o'clock meeting hits, we'll go, okay, this is what we have so far, and we'll discuss it. And then, Corey will tell us what he's got done so far. Miguel will give us what he's got done so far, and then we'll go, okay, next set of tasks, or hey, this is the game plan for the next day or two.
Okay, that sounds good.
Does that sound good to you, Corey?
Can you repeat that?
So, we're going to do a simple, me, Malave, and Peter are going to do our kind of like just little group with mechanics and rules. And we're going to have the rules done by tomorrow. We're going to have, we should have mechanics somewhat in there. And then Wednesday we should have flow charts almost done or in process. And then what'll happen tomorrow is that around the 8 o'clock meeting, we'll all do just like a quick update. Okay, Corey, did you get the story done? Did you ever find out about the table of contents or or anything like that we're working on? So kind of just do a quick update and go, okay, is there something that we need to hit on? Is there a component that we're missing? Things like that.
Okay.
And then Miguel will give his, and then if you say, hey, I'm done, I've got nothing left to do, I'll be like, okay, hang on, let's look at something real quick. Let's go over this so then we can write this out.
Okay. All right. So just throw into the tasks and updates one.
Yep.
That stuff, all you said, and then you said a meeting tomorrow at 8, right?
Yeah, it's meeting tomorrow at 8. You don't have work tomorrow, right?
No, I'm off tomorrow.
You have work though Wednesday and Friday and Saturday.
Yes. Correct.
Okay. I'm making sure. I know we don't have a meeting Wednesday.
Okay.
That was something that we said was no meeting Wednesday. However, I'll probably have a meeting with these guys just about the mechanics and rules and finalizing and getting the flowcharts done.
Okay.
So, and then anything that we need to approach, it will go in the Skype call.
Okay.
So,
Malave, what time tomorrow is good for you to meet up and start discussing stuff?
Well, I get home at 8 o'clock in the morning for my walk. So from there on till like whenever.
Okay, because I didn't know if you wanted to meet up around lunchtime or that you wanted to meet up before lunchtime.
I can do whenever.
Okay.
As long as it's before 8.
Before 8.
Yeah.
Are we talking about before
After
8 p.m. or before 8?
he's saying after 8 a.m.
8 a.m.? Okay.
Yeah.
My lovely fiance's got to go to work fairly early, so she usually leaves the house around 8:30, and so normally I got to help her get ready, so it might be after that. It might be a little closer to lunchtime. Does around 11:30 sound good?
Yep.
All right, guys. I will see you guys as soon as I get off of work. And then just email me throughout the day. I don't have my phone on me. I can't have it in that office. Like I said, I work for the government, so they don't allow us to have our cell phones in there, which sucks. So email me if you guys have to call me or have to be like, hey, dude, we need you like right now. I'll give you guys I'll call Peter or something, and we'll do it through a little conference call or something. I'll figure it out, or I'll walk down with my car and take a break.
Yeah.
So, just email me all day at that point.
Hold on a second. Hello.
We will. All right, Corey. We will see you tomorrow at 8.
All right, yeah, I'll get cracking on. Well, actually, I don't know what I can do tonight, but I'll look at the tasks and updates whenever I get around to working.
Okay.
Sorry about that, guys.
Project.
No, you're good.
So definitely throw into the task that document.
Yeah, tasks. Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Are you guys liking that, by the way?
I'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 8.
Are you guys liking that, by the way? I need to. I just wanted to know.
I am.
Yeah.
Sorry, what are we liking?
The tasks and updates. Do you guys like that? That
Oh,
sheet.
Yeah,
okay.
That's amazing.
Okay. I'm making sure that you guys are you're actually seeing the benefit of having that.
Don't forget to turn in your peer review stuff.
Yep. That is on the tasks as well. So if you guys haven't done that, you guys need to make sure you're doing it before tomorrow night.
All right.
Hey, here, hang on. I'm gonna stop recording for a second. I actually want to talk to all 3 of you.